It is indeed Hearthstone time. We continue the march to crown a winter champion through the quarterfinals. As one player from China has already booked his ticket, will a second player be able to join him? Welcome to the second round of 8 match. Bloodyface from the USA going up against HCT from China. It's Frodan and Brian Kibler. Looking at this heads-to-head hit here, Kibler, looks like we got some more conflict of what is going to actually come out on top. Is it the Quest Rogue, Clone Priest type setup, or is it an odd Rogue, Control Priest, Malygos Druid, and Midrange Hunter, aka I forgot that there were any nerfs. I lived under a rock for the past 4 months lineup.
Yeah, HCT's got kind of a mixed bag style of lineup here. You know, he has the aggro and the odd rogue. He's got the mid-range hunter, but also has the control priest and the Malygos druid. So there's no real specific like I'm targeting this direction with his lineup, but it has served him very well so far.
That's right. Well, it's when you look at it, pretty much all of HCT's decks have had experience a significant nerf of some kind, except for his control priest, I imagine. And you know, when we look at how HCT has got to this point, you know, we really don't know too much about him. He is the wild card, even though yes, he has teammates with Tsai Miao, who seems to be one of the stronger players. We don't really know too much about HCT's past, so this could be, you know, the equivalent of what Samuel Tao and Blood Trail have been doing in the past over on the east side, but we haven't seen China really make those rookie runs. Anybody that's really been getting through China in the past has always been like this historic legacy player like Jason Zone and Omega Zero.
Yeah, and we've seen that shift really in the past year or so. We've seen a lot of the storied old guard from China kind of stop showing up at these championships, stop making it through to the championship, which has made the way for these new players. And so far, you know, Jing just made his way to the World Championship in the last match, and HCT hoping to join him here. And it will be the mid-range hunter deck from HCT, which he has got the luxury to play since Bloodyface decided to ban his odd rogue.
Yeah, odd rogue. Definitely a problematic deck when you have Quest Rogue in there. I mean, that is one of the worst matchups, I think, out there for that deck. And Clone Priest does struggle with it as well. So very logical bans back and forth. And we'll see, you know, who can get the early edge here. As Clone Priest against Midrange Hunter, we've seen this a couple of times. Does tend to favor the Midrange Hunter because of how much burst they can put out. And unless Bloodyface has the right removal tools, and sometimes that's not even enough, there's going to be too much pressure for them to stop.
Yeah, HCT's opening hand is not that powerful here. Does not put on that much aggression early. He doesn't have Animal Companion. He doesn't have a Hyena. He doesn't have Dire Frenzy. He really has kind of the mid-game anti-minion draw with those double flanking strikes. So this could give Bloodyface the time he needs to build up and get his combo started to get online. And also, Bloodyface's hand, he's got the Ziliax naturally. So that's actually one of the cards in the deck that's a minion you want to draw. Most of the minions in this deck, you're just like, just leave him in there until I clone in Gallery. Ziliax in this matchup, though, can actually do quite a bit of work.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. Now, Bloodyface keeps drawing minions. This is not exactly what you want to be seeing. I think early game, you hear a lot about those removal options, especially against Midrange Hunter. The good news, yeah, right. HCT's had a relatively slow start. I mean, this is, in terms of what Midrange Hunter is capable of doing, having only 1 minion for the first 4 turns is pretty good, I'd say.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see HCT just upgrade one of these into a wolf with flanking strike. He's just flanking him his own board because right now, you know, he's putting on 2 points of damage. If he plays a Timberwolf here, he's unbelievably vulnerable to Spirit Lash. And I think that's got to be something he does not want to run into.
Right, it undoes pretty much all of the progress he's had, but he's going to accept the risks because, you know, flanking strike your own minion is actually less power than this. Surprisingly.
All right, well, he's going for it. This does give him, and this is, you know, a play that, you know, as you mentioned, does give him more power. It does make him more vulnerable to the potential of a blowout from a Spirit Lash, but he may feel like, okay, my draw is so bad right now that I need to give myself an opportunity to just take the most aggressive line that I have and hope that he doesn't have an answer. And fortunately for HCT, Bloodyface does not.
And he does not have the Spirit Lash, does have the coin available, so his options include the Ziliax or just holding onto that coin and try to save it for Shadow Essence in the following turn, which would also be pretty strong. There's a lot of whiffs, though. I mean, you don't want to get something... I mean, I guess you could get a Radiant Elemental, it's just it wouldn't do too much other than summon a 6-mana 5/5. So Bloodyface has to kind of weigh, do I want to use the coin now or do I want to save it for a much better play? Perhaps I'm even okay with my opponent extending onto the board and then utilizing Mass Hysteria on the following turn. These are all things that are possible going on through his head.
Yeah, this is not a incredibly threatening board, for Bloodyface here. So he's just going to go ahead and take out the Timberwolf, which is the most threatening thing by far here.
Sure.
And heal himself. This is a matchup where, yes, you're still kind of a burst combo deck to some degree as the Priest, but more frequently you care about just playing as a big minion resurrect deck. You're not really looking to one-turn kill your opponent, so Smite makes for good early removal.
Ooh.
Well, there's that Spirit Lash, yeah.
Yeah. A little bit late. Not the end of the world, though, because, again, it was just a little bit of extra damage. Has the ability to just go for that Shadow of Pain and heal himself. Be a little bit more mana efficient. HCT's been queuing up this high main for quite some time now. Finally has the ability to play it.
And one thing about this, Bloodyface may be thinking, okay, well, what are the cards that make sense to be in my opponent's hand? And Flanking Strike is certainly one of them. But because another card that makes a lot of sense is Savannah Highmane, if you give your opponent a target for the Flanking Strike in the form of the Radiant Elemental, it at least means your opponent isn't playing Highmane on turn 6.
That's true.
And the Flanking Strike runs right into Zilliax, which leaves you in a pretty strong position to stop them from being able to develop Highmane yet again.
Chain reaction. Playing certain things will force your opponent to be really afraid and scared about the possibility of other things. Radiant Elemental just allows the Clone Priest to get away with so many cheap spells and combos. It doesn't even have to be cheap spells. It can just be one turn closer to getting a cloning gallery out.
Right. I mean, there's just so many different factors that you need to be considering, because sometimes your consideration is, what's the best play for my opponent next turn? How do I want to try and avoid that? How do I want to prevent my opponent from getting value out of cards that it makes sense based on their previous plays to have in their hand? So there's, on column A, I don't want to play a target for Flanking Strike. Column B, though, I'm stopping my opponent from playing Highmane, and Bloodyface decides to favor that he wants to slow down HCT's aggression, and that makes absolute sense given the matchup.
This is a matchup that you want to go for more value through the Rexar, or is this more of a matchup where pressure matters? I mean, you get the option right there. HCT had two of his best cards for that. He had Master's Call to put on the pressure in the more immediate, and then Deathstalker Rexar to eventually pull himself ahead in the value game. I'm kind of on the fence there. He's already getting Bloodyface close to the halfway point, and he has 2 kill commands in hand. I'd be thinking a little bit more about that Master's Call.
I think that there's definitely an argument for that for sure, particularly given that if you are looking to pressure your opponent, replacing your hero power as Rexar can be problematic.
Right.
I mean, if you just look at this game state now, HCT, he has 5 in play. He actually has lethal with double kill command if Bloodyface does nothing to address this board. If Bloodyface, for instance, just plays Prophet Velen, which has got to be kind of attractive. You can play your Prophet Velen, and then, okay, well, if your opponent kills it, you can resurrect it and Spirit Lash, which he does not decide to go for, in part due to respect for the threat of those kill commands.
Right. There's 5 plus 10 plus 2, so 17 total right now.
Bloodyface, however, does have Prophet Velen into coin Spirit Lash next turn,
right.
Which does represent an enormous amount of healing because you double the damage and then you double the healing from that damage. So if there's any size board, it's effectively Reno Jackson.
Now, I do want to point out that this is partially why a lot of the more modern versions of the mid-range hunter lists would prefer 2 Tundra Rhinos. I was looking at the deck list. It's like, well, if HCT had the second Tundra Rhino, I think that Master's Call is almost certainly correct in almost any situation, given that he has 2 kill commands. He could get more beasts in a second charger, but he only has 1. Instead, he's favoring the 2 Highmane list, which is a little bit more traditional, but in my opinion, also slightly outdated. So I think HCT's going for the more conservative approach, but realistically, he might not even ever get a chance to play Deathstalker Rexar. The game might not call for it.
All right, well, I think we will very likely see the Prophet Velen into Spirit Lash here because very low life total for Bloodyface. Boom. He gets 2 spells from Lyra. Goes back to full, as I mentioned. That is effectively Reno Jackson and leaves him with a Prophet Velen. So all that work HCT has done previously this game is largely undone by that, and now he needs to fight through Prophet Velen, who threatens to continue to keep Bloodyface's healing afloat.
Well, Yang does pick up the Dire Frenzy, so can continue to stack his advantage.
All right, he decides it's Rexar time.
Interesting. Is he not? I mean, the Hyena. See, the thing is, if you play the Hyena now, you get less damage to trade in, I guess. So I suppose he always wanted to go for these beasts.
Ooh, it could be. This could be charge plus what is it? Hydra. If that was the pick, yes. So that is a big burst potential coming up.
Yeah, that's massive.
9-point charger.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Yang sees this. He saw that, you know, it's very likely that Priest has set up a way to heal itself out of range based off the way Bloodyface is playing his hand. So instead of trying to all in for burst, I'm going to try to gather slowly the resources necessary to make big pushes in the late game.
He does still have both those kill commands in hand. But Bloodyface is now at 26, hiding behind a Lich King. The Hydra can just kill it. The Hydra is a 9/9. Can win that fight against Lich King.
Right.
And you know, would you rather be able to take that out and get the minion damage in?
Well, you know what I kind of want to do? I kind of want to Dire Frenzy the Zombies. And then, because you shuffle a lot of them
you just draw 12/12 chargers.
Right. And then for the rest of the game, you're just charging, you know, essentially just big bombs to end the game, like Pyroblast.
Yeah. He just gets himself a Poisonous Rush, though.
I mean, that works
too. He does
too.
still have Zombies plus Dire Frenzy available at any point.
It's true. I just think, conceptually, I think I like that.
Okay, so there's Cloning Gallery for Bloodyface. But he has drawn a lot of his tools. He does not have the ability to do very much with this here, though, because he doesn't have a Spirit Lash, so he can't take advantage of Spirit Lash Malagos. He does not find Spirit Lash. He finds a Holy Smite.
That's okay. I mean, his Spellstone is still at the lowest possible upgrade, though.
Right. His Spellstone in hand still, I believe this will, I haven't been keeping super close track, but I believe this might upgrade it.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah, there it is.
All right, Face showing so much respect. Just trying to shut it down. And to be fair, I mean, if he's able to get a single point of damage, sorry, if he takes too much damage, then all of the combo that he's saving won't matter anymore. Yang has 2, 3.
All right, going in. There we go.
I like this.
12, 13, 14, 15
like
to the
this
face. Well, this is interesting, though. It does leave... Okay, he's going to kill... Each of these attacks are 3 damage into the Hydra.
Oh my gosh,
okay. If he attacks the Hydra twice and then reses...
He needs to res the Malagos
and the
Velen
would be...
So he should do the Spellstone first, right?
I believe... Well, how many...
I think
needs
it's
3
only,
more?
I think it's only those 3 minions in the Lich King.
No, there's still...
Oh, and
yeah,
the Lyra. I forgot about the Lyra.
So now, Bloodyface needs to find some way...
He can Mass Hysteria.
He can Mass Hysteria, but then he dies to double kill command. Oh, he found death. Oh wow! But he's dead if he doesn't heal himself. He dies to double kill command unless he uses this to heal himself with the Prophet Felon, and he does.
Yes.
So very heads up recognition from Bloodyface. He does not get the lethal combination, but he does find a way to stay alive thanks to the Gargoyles plus the Lyra. 13 is now the life total for Bloodyface. Hiding behind Lich King once again. 10 damage from those kill commands. It's another Hydra, but that's got some minions in the way, even if it can charge.
I'm trying to think if there's any combination that Yang could explore, because part of the problem now is that it looks like Valen is going to get a turn. Well, like Bloodyface is going to get a full turn with Valen, and that's also really scary. And here's also something to consider. Bloodyface has Army of the Dead, which means that he could just pull Malagos manually from his deck and go for a Hail Mary attempt. So even in the worst case scenario where Bloodyface is completely cornered, let's say he's down to like 1 or 2 health, he has an out there.
Ying is at 38 life. Each of those Mind Blasts in Bloodyface's hand is 10 damage right now.
Right, and if he gets
he's going to burn his next draw.
Oh, it's true. If he burns Malygos next draw, then he doesn't have it.
But he has no res in hand, right?
No, he doesn't have an Eternal Servitude.
But he does have 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah, he just has lethal because he has 18 on board. If not,
Oh,
he dies.
you're right. That's right.
Yeah, he has exact lethal simply because.
Oh boy, this ended up blowing up in HCT's face.
Yeah, just Mind Blast. Mind Blast is going to end the game here with the damage. He doesn't need any more draws from his deck.
Right.
That's 10. That's 10 more, and that's the rest on the board. So HCT gets to play his mid-range Hunter deck. It is a powerful deck. But so is this one. Cloning Gallery Priest making some big minions and closing out a big game one.
What a massive upset here for game number 1 for Bloodyface. Getting that unfavored matchup win is huge. He was already the slight favorite, but now he's turned into the big favorite in this series because he's able to escape the Clone Priest, which is one of the weak points of this lineup along with Quest Road.
And that game was really interesting because let's go back to the turn where HCT decided to tracking and chose the Rexar. If that Rexar had been Master's Call and he had found a Tundra Rhino, maybe he might have been able to piece together the damage he needed before Bloodyface could have assembled that entire taunt wall.
Right. Well, it's difficult to say too because he did get that 12 damage because the beast. I mean, it's all up for discussion, and that's what makes it so difficult and intricate when you talk to these players and ask for their opinions on what is correct versus what feels right. That is game number 1 in the books. When we come back, we're going to resume this best of 5 for Spawn the World Champion and a right to keep playing on to day number 4.
大家好，我是来自 LF 的月影，我是来自中国。我的性格是比较的，可能算是内向，就是如果跟不熟的人的话，会说话比较少，但跟熟人就会比较放得开。我唱歌的话，这个的话就是当你一直输，你可以用唱歌来缓解你的就是那种负面情绪，然后让你接下来的比赛或者是天梯的那种排名的对战中可能会更好。这就算是我自己的爱好吧，就是比较喜欢。然后表演的话也应该不算，就是我可能直播的时候会唱一下歌，就是只是哼一哼，也不会说刻意去唱。
Would you be willing to sing just a small excerpt of a song?
就我比较内向，所以我在镜头前我可能放不开，所以我觉得不太好。对。Listen to the song here in my heart, a melody I stop but can't complete。唱歌一般都是在我直播中，就是我在天梯中上分的时候，如果打的就是有一段时间的连跪，然后会影响我之后的心态嘛，所以我会通过唱歌来缓解我的情绪，不然我会就是一直憋在心里。上一个让我特别开心的事吗？我觉得只有炉石才能会让我特别开心。
The name Bloodyface is not like something that has super significance with me. I was drunk playing Hearthstone with my friends at like 3 in the morning, and I was making an account, and I'd never played the game before, and we were watching a TV show called American Horror Story, and I was just could not think of a screen name, so I literally put down the first thing that popped in my mind. Little did I know it'd carry on with me into my professional career. I feel like as I climb the rank ladder, I'm definitely collecting more blood on my face, you know, the blood of my victims, as any serial killer would do.
Yeah, different options as well, which is why it's confusing us.
Basically just freestyled on us.
I don't want people to come think I'm actually a serial killer, though. I quit my software engineering job earlier last year to pursue Hearthstone full-time. I wasn't qualified for any big tournaments when I quit my job. I wasn't a big streamer. I pretty much had next to no resources other than some money I'd saved up. And I basically had a dream of being a Hearthstone player, and I put in a lot of hard work and put in a lot of effort. You know, it is possible to, you know, take a risk and have it pay off.
Bloodyface, showing that control can get the job done versus aggro, even with these quest rogues.
So it's pretty frequent that I'll stay up for 24 hours prepping. I feel a lot of anxiety, you know, getting closer to the deck submission deadline. I just want to make sure every card in my lineup's perfect. When I'm not playing Hearthstone and I want to find my happy spot, the best thing I do is just take a bath. I find taking a bath just to be very relaxing, just soaking in the water. To my fans, I'll stay as calm and collected during the match as I am in my bathtub.
Bloodyface up 1-0, looking to collect yet another face into his wide collection of faces. He is the face.
He's a face collector.
That's right. He is a 3-mana 2/2 that adds a random legendary minion to your hand.
Or is he Arya Stark?
Hope that'd be cool
The many
and scary because who among us on the caster list is on his list?
I think HCT's on his list right now. Got to get through him to get to the World Championship. Well, no, he doesn't. You got to get through him to get to another invite to the World Championship.
Yeah, let's hope that that's all that's on his list, so to speak. But you know, Bloodyface, he is going to turn to, I believe, his Hunter for game number 2, if I heard correctly, and then
It's gonna be Hunter. Yeah, it's gonna be Hunter
going
Priest.
to be on Priest.
But it's a very different Priest. We were talking about how Bloodyface was quite fortunate to get out of that first match with his Hunter, rather his Priest against HCT's Hunter. This is a bit different. HCT is playing the Dragon Control Mind Blast Priest, which is generally considered a control deck rather than a combo deck, simply because, as we see in the opening hand, Duskbreaker, Wild Pyromancer, they give you a lot more early game defense than you have with the Clone Gallery Priest.
Yeah, I think the Control Priest has, you know, a little bit of trouble dealing with all of the assortment of minions these days. I mean, before, you know, like you said, Spellstone used to be the thing to worry about. And that was like the reason to play Control Priest. Now, why would you play Control Priest over some of the other stuff? And that's kind of something that I've been asking myself recently, and I think it's because dragons are pretty cool. Would you agree or disagree, Brian?
Ooh, tough call, tough call. No, dragons are sweet. I like smashing my opponent with dragons, and Bloodyface here, he's deciding how he wants to use his Crackling Razor Maw here, and the big debate is, does he want to take the plus attack or does he want to take Death Rattle? The reason for that is Duskbreaker. Because if he takes plus attack, he gets 3 damage in now, but coin Duskbreaker means he has nothing. So the big risk really is that he, if your opponent doesn't have Duskbreaker, he gets more damage in now. But if your opponent does, you may not be able to actually get that damage back. And he does decide to take the insects, which could pay off here.
Yeah, I like it. You know, there was a graphic released by HS Replay of all the highest percentage of the adapts that you can get, and it was large and far away, like Wind Fury and +3 attack were like the best. And so a lot of people might look at that and just think, well, you should always just pick +3 attack when given because you're maxing your win rate, but you have to understand the context of what matchup you're playing against, and more importantly, you know, against a deck like Control Priest that tries to decisively swing the board with things like Duskbreaker and Psychic Scream, how can you avoid that? Which happens to be exactly what HCT's holding.
I mean, if we just think about this, if he had taken, he's going to go ahead and Twilight Acolyte rather than Duskbreaker.
Well, he doesn't have another dragon. That's his big problem.
Oh, you're
now.
totally right. You're totally right.
Yeah, like it normally absolutely would. Just in this case, pretty awkward.
Ooh, Dire Frenzy, the draw
a
for
nice draw.
Bloodyface. And Crackling Razor Maw is absolutely one of the best minions that you can hit with that. Still no second dragon. HCT is just policing it up right here. Where are my dragons?
This is just an entire Game of Thrones
Feel
cast.
your pain, man. I mean, you know, I think it's appropriate. We've got Daenerys versus Arya right here, and we may see that soon on the final season of Game of Thrones.
That's right.
I
And
feel like they should just have me do those promo things.
later you'll see the North Wall Priest, played by Definition.
It's true. All right,
right.
well, now this second Twilight Acolyte will set up a potential Cabal Shadow Priest. Has to be something that Bloodyface is concerned with. That second Dire Frenzy.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen this episode before.
Yeah.
2 Crackling Razor Maws with Twilight
It's a
Acolyte.
rerun. Last time on Game of Thrones.
Well, I mean, this time it might be different. Like, you don't have to necessarily just go for
true.
the Dire Frenzy. You have the baited arrow as a possibility right now.
Yeah, and I think that's really what he wants. And Baited Arrow does set up a 5/5, which will give him stability against a potential Duskbreaker, which is now online. But thanks to the 5/5 in the way, or rather on the opposing side, that will not actually end up clearing the board.
Yeah, the damage has been done. Duskbreaker being a little late. Now Bloodyface has all the initiative because he can flanking strike and push again. And when he sees that Dustbreaker took this long to play, it does heavily indicate that he didn't have a dragon in hand until then. So what are some of the things that he could possibly eliminate?
Much less likely than the second Duskbreaker.
Right.
Because you'd have to draw an exactly Duskbreaker. Assuming that you think your opponent would not have played Duskbreaker in the previous turns,
Right.
If they had it.
I mean, there's not even that many dragons in the deck. There's the Twilight Drakes, there's one Crowd Roaster, one Primordial Drake, and Alex Straza, and of course, Dustbreaker itself. So, some of those cards can line up awkwardly if you're being a little bit greedier, like trying not to have as many dragons, and instead squeeze in more utility. People are... Yeah, people have always been debating about like the last few cards of Dragon Breeze, and Crowd Roaster is a cool, newer card, but you do have to make room in other capacities sometimes for real.
I usually like 8 or 9 dragons, and he has 7. Is it?
It looks like that. Yeah.
7. There's no excuse in the Khaleesi cry then.
You are offended.
Where are my dragons? Well, you didn't think we were good enough, huh?
The dragons are in his collection, safe and sound. Where no one can hurt them ever again.
Ah, feels good. Does not feel good for Yueying is how he may have to play this turn. He has Holy Fire, which can take out the Dino, but still leave a 3/3 on the board. He could just coin out a Psychic Scream, take care of both of them, but does leave himself relatively low still. He's not going to die if he Holy Fires here.
Right.
So I think that's most likely going to be the play, yeah.
I like getting out of the hand, very clunky.
Whenever you get to use that for removal, unfortunately for him, it's removal that went on a minion that was already damaged. It feels at least reasonable.
All right, well, Bloodyface, I can see a couple plays here. I kind of like the pressure play, which is Dire Frenzy, and Master's Call, I guess he does this so he can draw either the 6/6 or the Cracking Razor Maw.
Yeah, your Master's Call has become really powerful after Dire Frenzy. Ooh, he did not get any of his Dire Frenzy minions here.
But he did get Spring Paw, Scavenging Hyena, and Tundra Rhino, which he could squeeze in. Not everything, but he still gets some charge pressure. And he still has Kill Command, so this is still looking really good for Bloodyface right now.
And he still has a 6/6 in play that you has to deal with. And without a Crowd Roaster, without Anduin, his only real response here is the Psychic Scream, which it does nothing to advance his own board and leaves him without even the ability to heal.
Yeah. You know what Psychic Scream is in this spot? Do you remember an old Druid card called Recycle? Used to target a minion. It was a 6-mana rare spell that said shuffle an enemy minion into their deck.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, wow, this card's terrible. But for 1 more mana, you can do it to every minion on the board. That's kind of what Psychic Scream is at this point.
That hatchet's actually pretty good draw for Bloodyface, too, because it represents damage immediately. I could easily see Bloodyface playing, say, Hyena, Hatchet, Dire Maul, just get you. Sets up a Hyena that, if it is not dealt with, if your opponent plays a minion, it's just going to get some damage in. You still have your Spring Paws to go with it.
Yeah, this is looking lights out. Yueying does have some heal in the deck. He's got Divine Hymn and Alex Straza, but, doesn't have a lot of the good stuff. Bloodyface with that extra 1/1 presence just to see if he can squeeze out a little bit more damage. And now with that second Pyromancer, it's not looking too good.
There is the opportunity to potentially Cabal the Spring Paw and kill the... Actually, you don't need to Cabal the Spring Paw. You can just Cabal the Hyena Pyromancer coin, but that's not leaving you in a great position either. You're in a weird spot if you do just want to use Pyromancer because the Hyena will grow if you kill the Spring Paw while it's on your opponent's side of the board.
I think it might look like Yueying, if he wants to clear the board, has to go for Psychic Scream. Otherwise, be okay with your opponent sticking a minion onto the board, and then just stealing the Scavenging Hyena like you're talking about.
You are dead to a kill command if... you're just dead to kill command, period, if you don't heal. So, he may even need to Psychic Scream coin heal in order to not die to just a kill command in hand. Any beast plus kill command would be lethal if he doesn't do this. Yeah, and that's what he's going for. He's saying, okay, I haven't seen a kill command yet. Don't want to die to one right now.
Yeah, and I think Bloodyface is 1 mana off lethal now, because if he had the Tundra Rhino, he could go for that.
Oh, is that a buffed? It must be. I think that's lethal, right? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
Thunder Rhino plus the buffed
Crackling
Razor Maw. That is, yep, there's extra damage, and that is gonna do it. He didn't need the extra damage, I believe, because of the hero power plus weapon he already had set up. But speaking of set up, Bloodyface is set up to make a return appearance to a championship top 4 with 1 more game win.
Yeah, Yang is crushed, to say the least. His last deck that remains is Quest Rogue, and he has 3 tries to get over the hump. It's going to be a little tricky over some decks like the Hunter, but with Malygos Druid and with the Control Priest available, those are 2 decks that Quest Rogue will feast upon.
Yeah. Yeah, the Quest Rogue...
Oh, sorry, I apologize. It's even Paladin that's available.
You're right, yeah, the Quest Rogue was in fact banned. So even Paladin is a deck we have seen struggle over the course of this event. Tonsoko, I believe, lost 6 straight games with even Paladin when he made his exit. So it could be a little bit of a tougher road than if he did have that Quest Rogue at his disposal.
All right, well, we will take a break, and when we come back, we'll find out if that even Paladin from Bloodyface will be able to finish out 3-0. We'll be right back.
大家好，我是来自 LF 的月影，我是来自中国。这次我带的所有卡组都是我自己特别擅长的卡组，所以我觉得在这种比赛上应该拿出自己最擅长的东西。我觉得我这套牌是比较万金油的，就是没有说特别烈，也没有说特别好打的，但是可能打基础防战会比较难，所以除了基础防战以外的所有卡组，我觉得都可以。 就是有一套可能蓝龙德或者是激素贼这2套可能会大家会带的比较少，因为这2套牌的话也就只有2位选手，就每个1位带了这2套牌中的1套，但并没有人同时带了这2套。我觉得是有一套元素萨的话，就是这一次可能都没有带。之前我在亚服天梯遇到过，我的中速列打这套元素萨的胜率是0，就是打了3把在。 亚服的前50分段，所以我觉得这套牌是大家都忽视的，应该蛮强。我平常的练习一般都是打天梯，就是大数据有时候会看，但是不会太参考这个，我都是根据自己的理解，然后觉得哪一张卡更适合这个卡组。我的风格以前的话是快攻，然后就是偏快的，但现在的话慢慢的话我就转成中速，可能以后也可能会往控制 比较慢的方面发展，就我觉得一个职业选手应该要全面一点，什么都要会。我觉得最重要的就是心态，如果你的心态不好的话，可能会打出一些不是你该有水平的操作。信心就是在天梯中连胜，虽然可能没有那么有信心，但是你可以调整你的自己的心态。输的比较多，你可以先缓一缓，然后过段时间然后再打，尽量不要被 前面的失利影响到接下来的比赛，就在我每一局的比赛中，我会保持最高的专注，然后打好每一个操作。我希望大家以后继续关注我的比赛，谢谢。
Most players are on the same tier, but I do believe that some players are on the next level, being able to build new decks that people don't expect and trying to push the metagame even further. The level 1 style of thinking is, oh, they nerfed aggro decks, I'm just going to bring greedy decks because the aggro decks are now weaker. Well, the next level of thinking is, okay, well, because people are bringing really greedy decks, I'm going to try and build aggro decks to beat them. For this tournament, I ended up testing a lot of different aggro decks. I really wanted to bring an all aggro lineup. The problem was, aggro kind of has a big question mark over it. It hasn't really proven itself since the nerfs, with Odd Rogue and even Shaman and Hunter all taking hits. It just felt like the power level wasn't really there. Because the nerfs were announced 2 weeks before the deck submission deadline, it's kind of hard to figure out how the meta is going to develop because of that. Bunny Hopper brought full aggro, and he has the best group for his lineup. From a number standpoint, Bunny Hopper is very favored, but just because on paper you're 55% to win against them, if you're playing against the best players in the world, they're going to try and close that margin as much as possible. So I just felt like if aggro's not that good, I'll just bring the most greedy decks that I can while also trying to have an edge against the most greedy decks. If you're the driving force of the metagame, you're always one step ahead of everyone else, and just because you know all the best decks in the meta doesn't mean you know how to beat the meta. I think everyone in this tournament that's not already qualified for Worlds definitely wants me, Bunny Hopper, and Viper to all do well, because that increases their chances of making it to Worlds. Although I think my opponents still are looking to beat me.
Bloodyface up 2-0, one game away from yet another top 4 finish. And let me remind you, by the way, just a few months ago, right here in the Blizzard Arena, Bloodyface got second at the Fall Championships and guaranteed a spot there. And I mean, there's only one way to improve from that point, which is to actually win the seasonal championship. And he told me that's what he was gunning for. He's not looking here to just, collect the money. He's not here necessarily just to try to get a world champ spot and help out some of his friends. He wants to win it all.
Yeah, I do think that the attitudes we heard from Bloodyface as well as Viper and Bunny Hopper in our chance to sit down and interview them was that they didn't care that they were qualified for Worlds. I mean, obviously that was their goal originally, but they just want to win. Every time they go to a tournament, they want to win. And Bloodyface here, he is on the cusp of winning this match and having another shot, at that potential finals and perhaps championship appearance.
Yeah, and I think my favorite story too, of course, of Bloodyface is that a lot of people have been kind of busy being distracted because it's the Hearthstone off season for a lot of players. They've been picking up other games and whatnot. And Bloodyface, he's just been grinding Hearthstone. He's like, you know what? I need more ways to compete. So he entered the Wild Open and tried to pursue that. And he's like, you know what? I know myself. I have an addictive personality. I am not going to even touch any of those custom mod games. And I think it's very respectable that he stayed so focused because he said he quit his job. He quit his full-time job to pursue full-time Hearthstone. That doesn't mean straying from the path in his mind.
Yeah, he said he thinks his biggest edge is that he doesn't play those other games.
Right.
He does still play Hearthstone well, while others are exploring other games. But this game for Bloodyface here, is this kind of interesting from you, the turn 1 Timberwolf into the even Paladin hero power. I'm a little bit surprised to see this because we have seen this as a turn 1 play on a lot of occasions from players who are up against, say, Clone Gallery Priest or similar sorts of things. But that is guaranteed to face a 1/1 off of the hero power. And does Yuying value his Timberwolf so low that he just wants to make this trade?
Yeah, what the heck, man? Protect your doggies. Or maybe he feels so threatened by the even Paladin that he wanted to challenge the 1/1, which, again, I'm not sure if that's necessarily the case.
I mean, there is the argument that, you don't want to let your opponent get a 1/1 down and then Archon Protector it and then potentially have Kings and you have no way to deal with it. But one of your best ways, if you do fall behind that kind of capacity to come back, is Timberwolf plus Unleash the Hounds or Spring Paw. Right. And now having used his Timberwolf to just trade with that 1/1, leaves him in a position where, now he's behind and does not have that comeback mechanism.
Yeah, and also more importantly, because he had no guaranteed 2-mana card play, he also gave up one of his biggest advantages in this game, which is going first and having the initiative. Now Bloodyface gets to react to the minions that are played, and he has to be proactive.
Granted, he would still be behind, just having, if he didn't play that turn 1. If he just hero powers, doesn't do anything turn 1, hero powers turn 2. But he has Master's Call in hand, so he could play Master's Call to try and piece together the Timberwolf plus Spring Paw and have an answer, for instance, to this Amani Berserker, rather than now sort of being just really behind.
Yeah, I mean, this is also for anybody who might be still newer to Hearthstone and trying to learn how to properly mulligan of what cards you want. That's also why a lot of people don't even keep Timberwolf. Like, you might think it's a low-cost card, why not keep it? Unless you specifically have interactions which you need to have, which is like Spring Paw and Timberwolf to answer a lot of 2-health minions early on, not going to be something you need for a while. In fact, it gets better late game.
It does, which is why it's so surprising to me that Yuying decided to deploy it right away. And now Bloodyface has Corpse Taker. Yuying has nothing good.
He's got Dire Frenzy. That's about it.
He does, but Dire Frenzy on this leaves him with a minion that dies to the Amani Berserker and does not even kill the Corpse Taker. All right, well, there's Spring Paw. He got one off of that, and that means that Corpse Taker. Ooh, interesting. Okay, yeah, Glass Knight and Consecration. Lots of ways that Bloodyface can deal with this. Yeah, he's just gonna go ahead and clear this off. Get 8 damage in, still have this Glass Knight, and Yuying is in a load of trouble.
Yeah, he picked up the Scavenging Hyena, so that does give HCT some way to fight back a little bit. But here's the problem. Like you said, you know, that Glass Knight is kind of the next level of threat. Because we know, and Bloodyface knows, that this Corpse Digger is going to die because the Spring Paw put a Lynx in the hand. It's all about the follow-up.
Okay, Divine Shield is pretty good here, at least.
Yes.
At least it looks good for Ying, but there's Consecration in Bloodyface's hand. He attacks into. Actually, no. It still works. Cast the Consecration. Divine Shield from Glass Knight kills the Scavenging Hyena, and you still get 5 more to the face from this Amani Berserker.
Yeah. I mean, stuff like this is why even Paladin even has the edge on mid-range hunters, because you had that guaranteed early curve, which was surprising for me, Kibler, when I looked at the ban, because I thought Quest Rogue or Hunter would get banned from Bloodyface. Instead, it was the... the even Warlock or the mid-range hunter get banned. Instead, Quest Rogue was the one that got banned instead. And HCT is now paying the ultimate price for it, because this is looking really bad so far.
Yeah, I mean, he's now down to 15. There's Avenging Wrath in Bloodyface's hand.
Well, that Timberwolf draw actually ends up being his saving grace.
It does. It lets him take down both of these larger minions.
There you go. See, now you see the combo potential of the Timberwolf. But still, the initiative belongs to Bloodyface.
Yep.
Now, granted, Bloodyface doesn't actually have that good of a play right now.
It's true. I mean, there is the possibility to just trade here with his minion in play. He does have True Silver he could set up.
Yeah.
Keep the minion in play.
True Silver seems like it'd be a good play the fall. Well, actually, hold on. Can we set up like a 2-turn lethal with the fact that a True Silver champion has 8 damage and Avenging Wrath, which also has 8 damage?
I mean, your opponent's very likely going to play something next turn.
That's true.
But, I mean, you can True Silver the face, trade your minion, play Ooze, which does give you 7 on board, and your opponent is at 11. So
11.
You would, if your opponent plays one thing, you are statistically likely to kill them with Avenging Wrath.
Actually, I think you might. Yeah, actually, no, you're completely right, because then you can attack the minion. And then Avenging Wrath won't trigger the death battle until after all the shots are fired.
You're talking about specifically if he plays the high.
Yeah, if he plays the high main in that position. So it'll count as a 2-line situation.
Oh, but you're saying if you attack the high main, with the weapon.
Yes.
He's just going to go ahead and play wide to the board, though. No reason to really just push for lethal here when he can gain control. He has seen. Kill command is not that so good. I was going to say he has seen both of the Timberwolves at this point, so the threat of Timberwolf plus Unleash is not something he needs to be concerned with in terms of wiping out his board. Tracking for you. He really wants Rexar. Master's Call is probably his next best option, trying to find another Spring Paw, perhaps Spring Paw plus a Hyena.
Yeah, but he can't play all of that because he only has 6 mana remaining. He would have to play
true.
both of the Rush minions, and then Hyena has to sit on the bench. And Kill Command and High Main number 2 are just redundancies to his hand already. If he wanted those cards, he would have played it already. So if Master's Call is what he can get, he might actually have to go for Master's Call with a Spring Paw and either a Cracking Razor Maw or just hope for the best of the situation.
He does take the Master's Call and goes for it. Gives him Dire Mole, Hyena.
Oh, this is not enough,
not even Spring
Kibler.
Paw. We see Ying shake his head. Kill command to the Ooze.
And that's the second kill command gone, too. So no more burst potential. And I mean, he has even a hard time answering reasonable-sized minions like this Spellbreaker. Like, how does he even counter that?
Right.
And if I'm Bloodyface, I'm starting to itch a little bit to start going a little aggressive here.
He can use his Avenging Wrath now and Hero Power. Send 10 to the face. He's gonna go for it. Gonna send that damage in. 10 to the face with the True Silver in hand. 3 minions on the board. Your opponent could not clear your 3 minions last turn. You still have 3 more. Only 1 needs to connect for that True Silver to be lethal.
Yes. And only 1 more turn stands in the way of Bloodyface in another top 4. And HCT picks up Flanking Strike. That's not going to do enough. He needs to use Clacking Razor Maw to taunt. That's his best chance to survive.
Yeah, but there's even a Spellbreaker in the hand for Bloodyface. Even taunt, it comes down, but it's not going to be enough. It is all over for HCT, and it's only continuing for Bloodyface as he pushes through Lethal and sends himself to another championship top 4 back-to-back.
The day of China will have to be put on hold as Bloodyface once again advances to the semi-finals of a seasonal championship. What a year from our USA player, as Bloodyface is going to go to the top bracket of the semifinals and await the winner of Definition versus Roger.
And it's pretty remarkable when you consider the fact that, as he said in his interview, he committed himself earlier this year to playing Hearthstone for a living. He wasn't even qualified for a major tournament, and pretty much immediately thereafter, he qualified for the championship. He made top 4 of the championship. He's back here at another championship and back in the top 4.
Yeah, dedication pays off in spades here as Bloodyface played well, and a little bit of fortune, I think, because I think HCT had some, questionable decisions throughout that series. Maybe it's a little bit of pressure. Maybe just wasn't on top of his game, but the results speak for themselves. Let's go ahead and check in with TJ and Bloodyface and hear about what he thought about that series.
Thanks very much, guys. I'm joined here by Bloodyface. And Bloodyface, congratulations on qualifying for the World Championship 5 months ago. But no, the real question is, what keeps you motivated to keep trying to make it back here to the top after already qualifying for Worlds, already making it to a finals and a championship? What keeps you going?
I honestly just feel like there's so much for me to improve on. I feel like I'm my worst critic, and I notice a lot of mistakes even when I play in the match, and definitely have played far from perfect this tournament, probably one of the worst tournaments I've played so far. But yeah, I just want to keep improving on myself and, just try and be a better player.
Well, you mentioned in your media piece that you think there's, pretty much everybody here is good, but you think there's a next level of player. Have you made it to that next level yet? What's there still to do?
I think conceptually, I'm pretty good at being a little bit one step ahead of the meta. I could have brought a better lineup. If I found better aggro decks to play, I would have played that. But I think a lot of it just comes down to just knowing your decks inside out, knowing the matchups inside out. I think everyone here has made mistakes in their matches, and everyone has a lot to improve on. So, yeah.
And you mentioned to me right before we started this interview that you are the first of Bunny Hopper and Viper who was eliminated to make it to the top 4 of the already qualified for Worlds participants. So you have bragging rights now. Does that feel good?
Yeah, it's awesome. Plus, I get to play on Sunday and sit back and watch, some of the more drama unfold as people who miss top 4 get to try and qualify.
Yeah, you gave a couple more players an opportunity to qualify for Worlds. But have you given much thought to beyond the quarterfinals? Have you thought about who your possible opponents are in the top 4 and in the finals? What are your thoughts on that and your thoughts on your chances to make it all the way?
Well, I think I have to play against SNG again, which is I'm not going to lie. I'm just going to be honest. I think he has the best lineup in the tournament. If I would have seen his lineup before submissions, I would have brought his decks. His zoo deck is just amazing. I think he broke the format with that one. So it's going to be a tough road to beat him and then potentially Bunny Hopper in the finals. But, I'm just going to try and play good.
Well, I actually just got word. So one of the two things is wrong. Either my producer's wrong or you're wrong, that you'll play the winner of Roger versus Definition. Oh. So, that seems like a sigh of relief from you. Does that make you feel better about your chances for the finals?
I know against Roger's lineup I'm favored. I think I'm fine against Definition's lineup. I mean, as long as I'm not playing against Bunny or the other aggro lineup round 1, I'm happy.
All right, well, it looks like I gave you good news on top of your 3-0 victory. So congratulations on the win and good luck in the semifinals. Back over to Dan and Brian Kibler.
Thank you, TJ. Always the bringer of good news and delectable, fashionable outfits. We got Bloodyface versus Definition or Roger in the top 4, but we're also going to head to the bottom side of the bracket to group Bunny Hopper versus Ike. But real quick, I want to talk about the drama of the tiebreakers. We also want to mention that Viper is already qualified for the World Championship, so HCT is already in a pretty good spot because there's only one other player that's lost so far in the top 8 that already is World Championship bound.
Yeah, the tiebreakers are this weird matrix of possibilities. I feel like it's that Always Sunny board or whatever, where it's now this, now this, now this, and there's so many things that can pan out that players can lose. And usually when someone loses in their top 8 match, we're like, oh well, it's the last shot at the World Championship. But it's no, there's a lot more left to go.
That's right. So if you are a HCT fan, you're gonna pray that tomorrow in the tiebreakers he can pick it back up because today was definitely a departure from what we saw saw on the first day where this guy cleaned house. So we'll end up seeing what ends up happening with that. But we're just in the thick of things, excuse me. We're knee deep into our top 8 quarterfinals. Who is going to the World Championship and who is going to stop here for now and hope for redemption in the tiebreakers? Bloodyface takes the series with a commanding 3-0 sweep over HCT. Coming up next, Bunny Hopper from Germany going up against Ike from the USA.